Over the course of the past few weeks, I've interviewed several of our members about their membership at Mount Zion. It was fun sitting down to talk with each one of you, and I thank each person for their willingness to participate in this project. For my whole 25 years of life, Mount Zion has been the church I've attended. For different people, the church means different things. To me, Mount Zion is my church family, and it's always carried a very special place in my heart. We all have an answer to what the church at Mount Zion means to us.
I said my home.
It's fellowship and new friends for me.
Mount Zion is my church family.
It's a magnet. Mount Zion is my home away from home.
A great place to worship God.
To me, it'd have to be a family church environment. It's always seemed like a family to me.
Mount Zion to me is my spiritual family.
Same for me. we talked about this, so yeah, that was mine too.
My home church. Great place to be.
To me, it's what I think of as a definition of congregation church. What congregation means to me.
Mount Zion is home to me. It just means home and love.
A family that loves me?
It's one word, it'd have to mean everything.
Okay.
But in one sentence, it's the most important thing in my life. I think the church ought to be for every Christian, because life is so short here on this earth that eternal life should mean everything to us, and the church is the vehicle that's going to take us there.
There's so much to love about the church, and especially the church at Mount Zion. You know, there's rarely a worship gathering that goes by that someone doesn't encourage me or tell me that they love me. That's some of the things the church is about. It's about encouragement. It's about rejoicing with one another when we're happy. It's about bearing one another's burdens when we face difficult times. I found that each person that I interviewed had something to say about what they loved about Mount Zion.
My friend.
The way that they stick together, doing the meals, doing vacation Bible school. It's just a big family.
The closeness, the love that's shown for one another. Everyone here is willing to step up when there's a family or someone in need. Everyone just looks out for each other and takes care of each other.
The fact that everyone is always there for each other, that is what church is supposed to be through your ups and downs in life, and we have one another to lean upon.
The way everybody learns every week and how much we're able to get from David preaching every week.
I love the closeness of the Mount Zion church family. I love the camaraderie of our group here. It's just feels like coming home.
And I love the way they make everybody feel, even the visitors that come in, and the way they treat you. And when we first came here, we were looking for a church, and we had been to several different churches. And when we walked in the door of this church and got greeted by everyone we got greeted by and talked to, we went out and said, this is the one we want to be with. And that's what we did.
Everybody's kind, considerate, and thoughtful. They're caring, loving, and no one,
It's who I look to for strength and encouragement. It's what I depend on a lot in my life.
What I like about the church family is if anyone in the community or church needs something goes wrong, that our church family is always there to help.
They're more than just church family to me. I'm kin to so many different people here that they are my physical family too. But having worked here for as many years as I have, relationships go back so far, and the willingness for people to work, and of course it's living here real close to it and have been for 40 years plus. It's really to me, it's the hub of this whole community, and it's the hub of my life for sure.
The church building fire and the rebuilding process was a growing experience for our congregation. God used a tragedy to make the church at Mount Zion stronger. Each one of us took something away from the experience.
Well, a sense of fellowship, a sense of gratitude, and a sense of thankfulness for a job well done.
When we first got here, it was sad. It was very, very sad. But as Alan and I looked around, we became very, very close. They took a picture of us holding hands, and it was like the sadness left, and everyone just seemed to have a feeling of hope. David had said, we'll rebuild, and Alan and I just felt real good about everything.
Well, as big a tragedy as it was, I think just all the good that come from it, the rebuilding, even though we've done a lot of work, I didn't do as much as some others, but just the fellowship that we had while we were here working, the time we spent together, the conversations, the meals, again, the closeness with each other. Like I said, it was a lot of work, but we're told we're supposed to fellowship with those of like faith, and we've done a lot of fellowshipping during that 7 months.
As the saying goes, the first time I heard it was by Marion Edens many years ago out here, and I've heard it a lot since. That situation was like in life, a lot of times when you get lemons, you make lemonade. And through the Spirit of God working through everyone that helped us rebuild and making their monetary donations, I think that we made lemonade.
I think that I realized that you could have the days gone by way of life today just like it used to be when people helped people and they did things themselves, and that has been a thing of the past, but it wasn't here.
When I come to this church, my soul was in ashes, and I have watched myself growing and trying to rebuild my soul back up. And when the church was rebuilt from those ashes, it gave me a hope that even though you're burnt away and there's nothing there and it looks like it's worthless, that it can be rebuilt into a shining beacon to look up to.
And me, I took away a little piece of wood and a nail in it. Besides what he said, just adding to it.
Just an overwhelming feeling of community and how there is goodness in people, and from all the help that we received. And for myself, it just renewed my faith in people. Like what she just said.
Okay. Yeah. I was just impressed by what a group of people can do when they really work together and take on a project in earnest, and everybody puts their best effort into it. A lot can be done.
It's an experience that we've all learned one way or the other. You take things for granted, but then when something like that happens, you have all your memories to remember it by, just like losing a family member or something like that.
Well, I guess number one, I don't think that there was any doubt in anybody's mind immediately, right after it burned, that we were going to build back and it would be in the same spot. And I had several people to ask me, well, why don't Mount Zion disperse and some of you go to Richardsville, some of you go to Mount Pleasant, or if they lived in town, go to town. But that's not what families do, and we're a family. And I never did hear any of Mount Zion's people make any such suggestion. They all talked from day one like that was what we were going to do, was to all continue as a family and grow from that.
5 generations of my family have been members here at Mount Zion. And I must say the last 2 generations have really had an impact on my relationship with God. I remember as a kid watching my parents be very involved in our congregation. I remember watching them do the church bulletin and wanting to help. By the age of 13, I was doing the bulletin pretty much on my own, and I've been doing it ever since then. My papa has been an elder here as long as I can remember, and my mama has been very involved. Watching their passion for the church over my life has been an inspiration. They deeply love the church at Mount Zion. These strong influences in my life have helped keep me grounded, and they have helped me grow closer to God. I found that a lot of the members feel the church at Mount Zion has helped them grow.
Yes, I do. I have a sense of contentment and a peace in my life that I never had before.
I do too. It's caused me to do more studying, look up more stuff in the Bible. It's really helped me.
Oh, absolutely. I think back to like the early 90s, early 90s, Nita and I, we'd kind of gotten out of the habit of going to church or attending services. We were members at Richardsville, but we just weren't attending like we should, and we'd built our house, and it had come time to sow the grass, and I'd sowed my seed, but I didn't have any straw, and I called Marion Seeds, and somebody told me that Marion had straw, so I called Marion, and he said he had some, but he didn't really need to sell any, he needed it, and which that was fine. And wasn't about 10 minutes he called me back and said he's going to go ahead and sell me that straw. I said, I don't know if I could come up there, and I went back up to his house, and he helped me loaded the straw on his truck, and let me use his truck to haul it to my house. But he used that as an opportunity to inquire about my church attendance, and if I had been attending and how often, and he just kind of let me know that where I needed to be, that I needed to be attending. I think he just used that for a tool he probably had a better use for that straw than selling it to me, but we did attend. I told him we would, and we did come a time or two, then finally got back in the habit of attending, and been here ever since. And I guess I have to attribute that to him for reminding me that where I need to be. And I think her and I and our family we've grown spiritually from that day.
Absolutely. I'm now 52 years old. I came here at 21, and I've learned a lot of things about the church and the Bible, and probably I've learned more by listening to older people, more knowledgeable people, and hopefully someday I can get close to some of their levels.
Yeah, I definitely feel that, and I have to contribute that to David and our Sunday school class. I can learn more about the Bible in a 30-minute Sunday school class than I can actually read and learn myself, because questions that I can't understand and questions that I have get explained, because not only do you have David, you have a lot of other really knowledgeable people in our Sunday school class.
Yeah, it really has. I think it's brought me a lot closer to God, to where I'm able to learn so much more every week, and just brought me a lot closer to Him.
Yes, I do. The Bible is a confusing book to me, and having David explain it makes it more understandable, and also watching how the elders live and guide us, helps me get on a better track spiritually to live.
Definitely with our Bible study and just learning from others.
Yeah, with Sunday school classes.
Yeah, it certainly helped me, I know, because it's kind of the foundation where my spiritual understanding starts from my very youth. So I know that's helped me grow all the things that's went on here about that as far as my personal involvement.
When you have a wide array of ages, you find that some remember the church being a bit different from their childhood.
Basically, the actual worship service is basically the same. I mean, not a whole lot of differences. Of course, the building's different. Didn't have plumbing when I was here as a child. We had outhouses. I can remember as a child going out there during services to use the restroom. Sometimes I would stay out there longer than I should. And 2 or 3 times my daddy had to come and get me, and it usually wasn't good when he had to come out there and get me. But other than that, I mean, the order of service is basically the same.
Well, of course, I didn't go here as a child. I came here, like I say, in 1981. Worship service, it's really not changed, and it shouldn't change. I mean, the Bible tells you how to worship, and I think that Mount Zion's holding true to how the Bible says to worship. I guess it's kind of deviating from the question a little bit, but the change that I see would be more in the, I guess, of course, the new building. But when I first came here and walked in, when Glenn and I just met, there was old wooden pews, and shortly thereafter they got padded pews. There was not any running water here. There was no restrooms here. Shortly thereafter, there was running water and there was restrooms. And now, since we have the new building, we have the PowerPoint program that replaced David climbing on a ladder, writing on a chalkboard. So worship service, not really changed, but some of the features of the facility would be what I say have changed.
In Sunday school classes, when I was young, of course the boys and girls were all together, but I remember the men's classes, the men and women had separate Bible study classes, where nowadays it's all combined, but not a lot of differences really, other than that particular thing.
The worship service itself is not different. It's just like the facility. And when I was going here as a child, we had no bathroom, no running water. And when we had dinners, we'd have them on the ground with wagons. And today we have a wonderful fellowship hall and things like that.
When I first remember, of course, the pulpit was on the other end of the building, and there was 2 old pot-bellied stoves, one on either side, and on real cold winter mornings, somebody came early and built the fires, and then everybody gathered around those stoves. So a lot of people would be standing up for the worship service, because sitting away from the stove, you just get so cold you couldn't stand it. But on those kinds of mornings, it wasn't real big crowds. It was hard for people to get here. Sometimes the roads would be bad and you couldn't get here. And a lot of people came whenever I was a child, and I myself have come in team and wagon, and because the roads would be too muddy, you just couldn't get out. But it was quite a bit different in those days than it is today. You didn't have near the comfort that you do nowadays, where you just walk in and set the temperature like you want it. We got a lot to be thankful for now.
There are so many special memories many of us have about the church at Mount Zion. I can remember one that stands out to me. On June 17th, 2001, it was Father's Day. I was 13 years old, and I remember Josh and Joe Anderson going forward during the invitation song of the morning worship service to be baptized. I can still remember the song that was being sung. The title of it was Prepare to Meet Thy God. I still remember singing these words. Careless soul will heed the warning, for your life will soon be gone. Oh, how sad to face the judgment, unprepared to meet your God. At that point, I knew what I needed to do. I stepped out into the aisle, and I followed Josh and Joe to the front pew. On that day, I was baptized for the forgiveness of my sins, and I became a new person.
Well, on March the 4th, 2004, Francis and myself were baptized here by Brother David. And I guess that's the best memory I've got.
It's been precious for me, the closeness with everyone. And it's Ron Allen and myself closer, keeping us coming to church. We have a desire to be here when we can.
I guess it'd have to be two favorite memories. The days that both of our kids were baptized had to be my favorite memories. That was that had to be the best thing that could happen to a parent. Know that both your kids have been saved and everything's good with them.
Some of my favorite memories would be actually the fact that I guess my whole family has evolved from Mount Zion. Had I not come here and got involved, I suppose Lynn and I would never get married. And of course, you couldn't have weddings here very easily, so she and I got married at the Richardsville Church. But as far as Mount Zion in here, of course, I was baptized here, and the fact of seeing both of our sons baptized here at Mount Zion is some of my favorite memories.
Well, in my situation, it would have to be the first time I ever led singing. And Mr. Ellis Basham, elder here, had asked me several times to. And finally, I guess I got up enough courage, and after the initial song, which was When the Roll Is Called Up Yonder. And since then, I've been leading singing. But that would be the one memory that would stand out in my mind the very first time.
Well, I've always liked the extra events that we have going on, like the hayride for Halloween and just the extra things that Mount Zion does to make coming to God closer, more fun, instead of just coming to church and every week and having just plain like that.
Hands down, walking into church the day I felt that it was time to pledge my life to Christ, and also 4 other family members of mine, and we come forward and were reborn that day. That is my favorite memory.
My favorite memory is when, after the church had burned and we had came back because we were out with my mother-in-law with cancer at the time and did not get to help participate. And so the day we got to come back and walk in and see the new church and everything, and how everybody had pulled it all together and did all the stuff they'd done, and how amazing it really was to see it all again. Because while after it had burned, we had driven over here one day with Bradley to see what it looked like before it ever got started, and it was just amazing to see.
Bible school, when we did the farmyard scene, and we brought the chicken and the pig, and George the pig talked all the way through the service, the adult class, and everybody got a big laugh out of that. That was a good memory.
I think as far as a happy memory, the times when I was a youngster coming out here with my grandparents and everything, what we're getting ready to do with this anniversary thing, having a potluck dinner after service and everything. I remember doing that back in those days, except the farmers pulled their wagons out here, and we had them pulled up in the shade under the woods trees, and all the wagons were covered up with tablecloths, and they had the food spread out on it, and everybody sitting around on the ground. It was a really nice experience, especially for a kid. I I love that.
Small memory is when little Nick was small and he was in so much dependent on Barry that when Barry would get up to leave on the table that he would get so upset. So finally we just let him go with him and he walked beside him while Barry was waiting on the table.
I guess one of the memories, of course, we always want to go back to times past. I've got a lot of good recent memories because we've had so many baptisms and so forth here. But going back a long ways, I can remember those hot summer nights when we had the gospel meetings here, and we didn't have air conditioning. All the windows were open, and the building was so crowded with people, and it was so hot you couldn't get your breath. And people standing outside looking in the windows. And I remember sometimes they'd get to talking outside and it would interrupt the service, and somebody, one of the elders or one of the deacons, would go outside and ask them to hold the noise down, because it was, especially those that were sitting near the windows, it was disruptive. And sometimes it would be disruptive to the preacher if he wasn't an overpowering preacher. Mm-hmm. So I remember that. And then I also remember the meanness in teenage boys that would take the saddles off horses and take the wheels off buggies and things like that. There were still people in the 40s that were still coming like that. So they turned their horses loose and things like that. Just we'd call it meanness, but it was just mischief more than anything else.
William Brown had a vision when he decided to build the church building 160 years ago. Just like Mr. Brown, we have to have a vision for our future. Where will we be in 10 years? It's hard to say.
And I think it'll continue to grow, and I'll probably have a congregation about 150.
I see it growing too because of the young people and people like Ryan Barrett that keep things going, interested in doing more for the church. And with all the young people, I believe it'll grow.
10 years from now, Mount Zion can be wherever it wants to be. Actually, it is up to each and every one of us. We can fall backwards. I don't think so. I think that we've proved how persevering that we were by rebuilding this building. I think that we will work together and strive together as a congregation. I think we'll prosper, but the challenge is upon us. It's upon not 1, 2, 3 people, it's upon the whole congregation to pull together and do what we need to do to help us grow.
Well, I hope I see it grow. I think I'll see at least it will maintain itself. I don't see it going the other way. I hope it'll grow, and I guess I just hope I see it.
I see it growing. Hopefully, I like it to be bigger. And if David's still around, it should grow.
I see us as a community beacon and a spiritual enclave growing tremendously. I can't see us staying at these numbers. I see us with our community outreach programs and our Bible schools. I see our church growing.
Now I'm going to tell you what he told me when we rehearsed on the cover of the Rolling Stones. But no, we were just joking about that.
He's going to edit this.
I hope full to the brim and growing.
I don't know. I think there'll be quite a bit of change over the next 10 years. I expect the congregation to continue to thrive and do well, but I think there'll be some changes in leadership. I believe we'll have younger people coming on and taking over responsibilities that the older generation that's moving on is going to make room for. So I'm hoping and expecting a little vitality to, you know, for the young people to take hold of this congregation over the next few years. I'm looking forward to that.
I may not be here to see it in 10 years. We don't know how long we're going to have here on this earth, but I would hope that that the attendance would at least double in 10 years. And the way that we've been going the last couple of years, I think that that's easy foreseeable. We ought to do better than that. And of course, the work that we're doing in foreign countries, we certainly want to see that continue, and hopefully we could even improve on that. And of course, the main thing is to keep your own membership strong, because you've got so many social issues today that are trying to tear our beliefs down, if we believe what the Bible says. And I hope that we're as strong in 10 years as we are now spiritually. That's what's important to me, and that's, as you know, that's what I preach on.
If we have people eager to serve God and contributing their talents to the church, you can count on us being bigger and better than we are today. I encourage and challenge us to make a change going forward. Think about your involvement in this congregation and decide on one thing you can do better going forward to make it stronger. Pray about it, and let's watch to see what God has in store for us.
Beyond this land of parting, losing and leaving, far beyond the losses darkening this, and far beyond the taking and the bereaving, lies a summer land of bliss. Land beyond, so fair and bright. Land beyond, where is no night. Summer land, God is its light. Oh, happy summer land of bliss. Beyond this land of toiling, sowing and reaping, far beyond the shadows darkening this, and far beyond the sighing, moaning and weeping, lies a summer land of bliss. Land beyond, so fair and bright. Land beyond, where is no night. Summer land, God is its light. Oh, happy summer land of bliss. Beyond this land of waiting, seeking and sighing, far beyond the sorrows darkening this, and far beyond the pain and sickness and dying, lies a summer land of bliss. Land beyond, so fair and bright. Land beyond, where is no night. Summer land, God is its light. Oh, happy summer land of bliss. Land beyond, so fair and bright. Land beyond, where is no doubt. Summer land, God is its light. Oh, happy summer land.